Welcome to Stay Awhile, the podcast that's virtual soul food for your ears. I am your host, Tommy Vincent, and each week we break bread with bold, passionate women who have faced the impossible and are still standing to share their testimonies. Make yourself at home and stay a while. Hi, everyone. It is Tommy Vincent, your host of Stay Awhile podcast. And today I have joining me at the Stay Awhile table, Domonique Burroughs. Domonique is the executive supervising producer for Hot Ones. And she also is an Emmy-nominated executive producer. Domonique, welcome to the table.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
Absolutely. So the very first question I have for you today is, who is Domonique Burroughs?
Ooh, okay, so Dominique Burroughs is a girl from New Jersey who had a dream, who wanted to work in television, who loved watching TV all day long, would never leave the house if she didn't have to, and chased that dream. And now I am a woman and I am living in that dream, but also enjoying life as I'm doing so.
Mm-hmm. So this, for you, what you do today is a dream fulfilled. You know, there are so many people who start out life one way, and then as they start to navigate the terrain, they land in this place and they're like, oh, this is what I want to do. But you've known since you were a little girl that you wanted to be in television?
Yes and no. So I always wanted to work in entertainment. I love music, I love TV, but I went to college originally with the thought of working in news. I wanted to be a journalist. I wanted to work for CNN. And then, we can get into it. But one of the things that you had just mentioned before we started was you were saying that you want women to find a way to make things a little bit easier, right? Because things have been hard. And I remember the first journalism class I took, someone said, the news doesn't sleep. So if you work in news, you'll be working 24/7. And I said, wait a second. I don't want to do that. I like weekends and I like sleeping. And, I don't want to be my life dedicated to this. And so I kind of took a pivot there and somehow ended up in digital media. So my dream was always to be behind the camera doing something. And so, yes, I made my way here a roundabout way.
Do you sit around and think about or create shows in your mind?
Yeah. When I was a little girl, my life was a show. There was a camera always on me in my head, and I was living out in imaginary worlds, and I was thinking them through, and I'm always jotting down things now of like, oh, that would be a really great idea for a show, or that would be a really good idea for a skit. And, I also see the potential of a show in everything that happens around me all the time.
Mm. So you really are in it. That's pretty remarkable, just knowing how you've had this experience that really started germinating in you from a little girl, and now you're in it, but you're also still, let me see the best way to say this. So the little girl still lives, because that same way you were creating these shows and the camera was always on you as a little girl, you're still moving around and seeing the show and how it is happening before you. And this is outside of the work that you're actually doing inside of the studio. So that's pretty remarkable.
Yeah. And I always say that younger me would think that older me is like the coolest person. And so that is always just a nice little motivator for me. Whenever I'm doing anything, I'm just like, little me would look at her and be like, whoa, she's cool. And so I love that. And that's kind of how I try to approach everything that I say yes to.
Mm-hmm. So can you share what exactly does the executive supervising producer do? What is their role and responsibility?
Yeah, I love this question. I feel like when you hear the term producer, it's so broad and it could really be anything. But if I could give you an analogy that I think would make the most sense is my job is I'm kind of the bus driver, right? So when you get on a bus, you're not really looking for much from the bus driver except to get you to where you got to go, to get you there on time, and to get you there safely. And so my job is I have a production ahead of me. Someone says, we need to make an episode of this thing, or we need to make a season of this thing. And my job is, okay, I have the map, I have the blueprint, and I have to get us from here, from nothing to the finished product. And my job is to drive that bus, make sure all the potholes and detours and all the things that come our way don't stop us, and we still get there to a finished product on time, and everyone is safe.
Mm-hmm. So your current role with Hot Ones, which is a hit series, is one step in your journey, but it took many steps for you to get where you are. So can you share with us some of the challenging steps that you had to take to get where you are today, and how you were able to continue to keep stepping beyond those challenges?
Yeah. So, like I said, I originally went to college thinking that I would study journalism. I originally went to school in Virginia. I went to Old Dominion University.
Mm-hmm.
And about 2 years in, the out of state tuition and being homesick and all of those things kind of came to a head. And I decided to leave that school. And I transferred back to Rowan. I went to school in New Jersey. I was closer to home. I was living at home, actually. And so that was kind of my first roadblock in it, right? You're 18 years old and you think, I'm going to college. And then you're 20 years old and you're like, wait a minute, college didn't look how I thought it would. And
Mm-hmm.
so that was the first time that I had to pivot and say, okay, tail between my legs, mom, dad, I'm coming home and I'm going to figure this out, I promise. And we'll do that. And so I then finished undergrad, and I knew what I wanted to do, but I didn't have a way to do it. And so I'm living in New Jersey, and I had a professor who said to me, if you want to make it in this industry, you either have to go to LA or New York. And again, I like my family. I didn't want to be too far. So I said, okay, I'll go to New York. I'll figure this out. Went to film school in New York. I went to New York Film Academy, where I studied producing for television and film. And so that was my second. I just jumped in. I didn't know what I was doing, but I took a leap and I said, if I want to do it, this is what I have to do. And so I went to film school, and that was kind of a culture shock for me. I'd never been around so many creative people that just really wanted to be doing, not learning, doing. And so that was a major step for me. I learned so much there. And from there, I got an internship. Part of our curriculum was we need an internship. I started interning with the company that I was working, that I now work for, but I interned with them. And during my internship, there was me and a lot of other people. And I walked in that first day and I was like, I'm walking out of here with a job. I don't know about you guys, but I'm walking out of here with a job, because I don't have another, like, you might all have things to do, but this is it for me. Like I went out on a limb. I spent so much money of my own, took out loans, did all of this. Like, if I don't walk out of here with a job, I'm back at square one where I started. And so I took that with me, and I worked my butt off as an intern. I never complained. I was like, who needs what? I'll stay as late as you need me to.
Yeah.
And I did that. And the last day of my internship, they pulled me in a room and they said, hey, we want to bring you back after you graduate. And I was like, cool. Like, but in my mind, I had already did that. Like, I knew it was coming, because I was like, there's no way these people who are over here surfing the internet while, nothing's going on are getting this job over me. And so, then I did that, and I actually moved back to South Jersey with my parents the first year that I worked in New York. And so I commuted 6 hours a day, 3 hours in the morning, 3 hours in the evening, back and forth, Monday through Friday, for my first year of working, to save money and because I wanted to, live the dream, but I knew that I had to work at it. And again, it was one of those things that I'm looking at my coworkers and I'm like, I don't care how hard you want it. I don't care how bad you want it, because I want it too. And so I was always in competition, whether they knew it or not.
Yeah, yeah. And you were determined to win.
Because there was no, to me, there was no alternative, right? It's like that little girl who wanted this, who wanted to do this, she now has her shot. If you think she's going to drop the ball, you don't know me. And that's okay, but you're going to learn.
Mm-hmm. You know what? When I was reading your bio information and doing some research, and I was looking at what you had accomplished and where you are currently in your career, and, thinking, wow, I wonder what that process looked like for her. And that question I just asked you regarding those challenges. But what just came out so clearly to me is no one should be surprised at your success, because you were so determined. You had made your mind up and you put your foot on the pedal and you said, let's go. And whatever it took, whatever was required, that's what you did to accomplish what you've accomplished. So nothing about what you said talked about what you look like, who's next to you, who's not next to you. All of that stuff was irrelevant to you because you had your mind made up. Where did that type of drive come from?
Probably my family. I'm very lucky to have parents who never tried to steer us in any direction when it came to a career. My dad has always said to me, I could go to him with the most outlandish idea of like, I want to do this. I want to do this. And his famous line to me is always, what's your plan? What's your plan? He's a plan. Like, put your plan, show me your plan, and then I'll believe you. Like, that means you're serious to me. And so, I've had a lot of those talks in my life with him of like, what are you doing? What's your plan? And there have been a lot of times when I didn't have a plan. And I'm like, okay, I got to go put a plan together. But yeah, I think just that attitude of, all right, I put it in front of me. Here's all the steps. Like, there's no reason that I shouldn't believe in myself, at least, to carry out this plan, because I sat here and wrote it out.
What for you in the work that you're doing? I know there are some metrics in the industry that you could use as mile markers for success, but for yourself personally, how do you define success?
For me, success is feeling it. It's hearing people say that what I do brings them joy. Because it's easy to say, the show that I work on, it's easy to say, I work on like my show's on the internet. It's a silly show, but I get random emails to my email all the time, just saying, hey, I just want to let you know, like, my family loves this show. I love watching this show with my family member. Or, we were going through a hard time and we binge watched your show and we love it. And now it's something that we don't miss. And so it's always nice to hear from the people that consume what you're making and see it and like it. And it makes a difference because it's easy for me to think that I would never make a difference, just working in entertainment, doing what I do. But there are people out there who have expressed to me that they feel something when they watch it. So that's always really nice to hear.
Mm-hmm. So I'm curious, and this is the chef in me. Who is in the kitchen making these wings? I just need to know.
So, believe it or not, we like to work with the local businesses. And so we like to, make sure that if no matter where we are, we're going to a local spot and we're getting wings. And some people have dietary things, right? Some people don't eat meat. And so we're looking for vegetarian wings and things like that. But we go all over and we go to different restaurants. Sometimes we take recommendations. So, if you have any good spots or if you're ever in New York and want to pick us up some.
I was just so curious. I was curious, like, who is making all of these wings?
It's a lot. It's a lot.
Do you Eat the wings. Do you ever eat the wings? And not the mild wings. I'm talking about the hot ones. No.
No, no, I leave that to the show. Honestly, I don't like spicy food, so
Mm-hmm.
me eating that would just not be good for like the rest of my day, and then I'd be useless. So it's
Mm-hmm.
better I don't.
Yeah, myself personally, I don't mind spicy food, but I don't like spicy food that's so hot you cannot taste the food. All you taste is the heat. To me, that's not a good experience because I want to enjoy the food that I'm eating. So,
Exactly.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. There are some young people who are um, looking to have their dreams fulfilled. Some may be in your industry or they could be doing something else in life or have a desire to do something else in life. What is some advice that you could share with them that would help propel them forward in their dreams? And I want you to keep this in mind. What you shared was hard work and determination. Sometimes that's not what is being presented currently in the work climate for new people coming in. So, what would you say to this young person?
Yeah, and I actually would like to make a little anecdote about my internship because I was actually 24 when I went to film school. And so by the time I hit my internship, I was 25. And so I do think that that was a little bit of Asian wisdom that had me act the way I did. But I will say to younger people that are looking to get there, I think it's really important to learn as much as possible that you can about the field that you're interested in, whether that is reading, watching movies, documentaries about people that are doing what you want to do, and then also just reaching out to people that are doing what you want to do. And hopefully just hoping that they'll answer you. We have really great resources these days like LinkedIn and any type of social media where you just can ask someone, hey, I am really interested in what you do. Like, how did you get here? Is there anything that you recommend that I do? And people love to talk about their careers. People love to talk about their stories. And so that is a really big piece of advice that I give to a lot of people. Like, find someone that's doing what you want to do or what you think you want to do and have conversations with them, right? And learn what it is that they did. And then for me, I think learning as much as possible. Like the best producers to me can understand all aspects of the production that they're working on. So
Mm-hmm.
if I can have a conversation with an editor and I can have a conversation with a camera person, if I can talk to them on a wavelength where they know that I know what I'm talking about and I know what they're talking about, that makes the synergy on your productions is going to be so much better because not only do they say, okay, I'm seen, but she knows what she's doing. She knows what she's talking about, right? And I'm not saying you have to become a master at every craft, but if you can talk to the people that you need to work with on a daily basis and you guys have a mutual understanding, I think everyone's expectations of each other are going to be a lot more cohesive.
So, when you have those discouraging moments and you need to step away, who would you call to get the fuel you need to go back in there and do your thing?
Whew. First, I'm going inward.
Mm-hmm.
I'm checking myself. And then if I need another step further, I'll probably call my partner, my boyfriend, and then just say, hey, like, this is what's happening. I'm just venting. And then if I need to take it a step further, I'm calling my sister because my sister speaks corporate and then I can get the right wording to take back. You got to call in your
Yeah.
reinforcements,
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a nuance, for people coming up, young people, and not even just young in age, but just like new to the game in any industry, you got to learn the language so that when you are speaking, they understand what you're saying and you're not giving them an excuse to not understand what you're saying. So having someone that you can lean on to help really mentor you in those things is a tremendous asset, because things can get lost in translation and you don't want it to be an excuse for why you're not getting the progress that you should be getting or the results you're looking to yield.
Exactly.
You may have heard the saying, work hard, play hard. What does Dominique do to play hard when she is not working?
I travel. I love to travel. I am a Sagittarius, and I am a true Sagittarius. The adventure bug lives in me. I like to travel out of the country. I like to travel within the country, but my current, I'm trying to visit all 50 states. I'm currently at like 46. So I got a couple left, but it's just really fun. And I like to do it. Like I go on solo trips. I'm a solo traveler. Like I love it. It's another way for me to, once I started traveling solo, like I think I unlocked a new relationship with myself, and really learned to trust myself in ways that I never had to before. And I love it. So that's how I play hard. I'm on a flight. If I take a day off work, you'll see it on my Instagram a couple of days later that I was somewhere.
Where has been your favorite place so far that you've traveled?
Well, out of the country, I really, really like London. London is like New York with accents, which I say. I've been a couple of times and I really like it. It's just a fun, beautiful city. And it's really easy to get to. But in the country, I want to say the prettiest place I've been is Utah. And I was really blown away by just the landscape and how gorgeous it is. And then Maine. Maine is really pretty. Yeah.
I actually did Vidal Sassoon in London. This was a long time ago. And I went to specialty school for hair color and hair cutting. And I did not enjoy it. No. I was like, where's the sun? I was like, where is the sun? And why is everybody smoking in my face? And I was just like, now that was a long time ago, so things could be very different now, you know, how people are more conscious about those types of things. But I just remember wanting to come home, and I wasn't even there long. It was like 8 nights, 7 days or whatever, you know, either way, I was there for a week. And it was just an experience that I'm glad I had the opportunity and was able to take the opportunity, but I was ready to come home for sure. Yeah.
Well, London has really good like shopping and stuff too. So I feel like, you know, all the things have to align, right? Like I had to have some money in my pockets. I had to be ready to like go places, you know, but once I got there and I was like, oh, this is fun. I liked it a lot.
Yeah. So let's go back to Hot Ones, and as your role driving this bus, getting everybody where they're supposed to be. In the process of your drive, what has been your most memorable episode and why?
You know, I have a lot that come to mind, but I think the first time that I was in a room and had a moment where I got to like step outside of myself and say, wow, this is really cool, was when we filmed with Halle Berry. And that was one of those moments. It was pretty early, not really early into the show, maybe a few years into the show, but that was the first time that I kind of stepped back and I said, wait a second, like I just had a conversation with Halle Berry. I just directed her to do something and she listened to me, and like, this is cool. You know what I mean? Like, this is cool. And so that was a moment for me. But I mean, she's obviously as big as she is for a reason, right? The whole room was captivated, and that's just, I believe, her aura. But that was a really cool moment for me.
So let me ask you this, because, the show, it does bring your guests. There's a lot of star power that come into the room. Have you gotten to the place where you recognize your star power?
No, I don't think I have any. No, no.
Let's think about it. They're coming to a show as a guest that you're overseeing. And so the show is happening as a result of the work that you're doing. So there's a level of stardom in what you do. And I only ask that question because you had that awe-inspiring moment with Holly Berry, which I totally get. And you've been doing this and a part of that show for quite a while now, and it is extremely successful. Everybody knows the show, and you are a star of that production team.
Well, all right.
That's just the facts. That's just the facts.
Okay. No, I've never looked at it that way, and I hope that I never look at it that way, right? I just want to I am a behind the scenes person through and through. I can honestly say, like, I have never wanted to be a face of anything, if that makes sense. But I am very, like, I'm grateful for when, a lot of, look, people may know this or not know this, but a lot of people in Hollywood, like, share publicists or have the same, management companies or things like that. So a lot of the teams are repeating teams, like you'll have a publicist that has a few people and they say, oh, I can't wait till you have so-and-so on the show. And then they come back with that said person. And so I do have, like, relationships like that where they come back and they know me and them, and it's just really nice to see. So there's a familiarity in it, but I don't think that I would look at it as anything more than just being someone who is a familiar face in an uncomfortable situation.
I hear you. This is what I know to be true. As someone who has been in the background for many years in my marriage, in the background as a mom of my 5 amazing children, and in a lot of other areas that I show up, but you would never see my face, I recognize, and this is actually part of the work that I have done personally for myself, with therapy and all of those things, just understanding who I am and how phenomenal I am as a woman, just knowing that a lot of what takes place doesn't happen without me. And so it's not that I need to be acknowledged, that you even have to know my name, because my fingerprints all over everything that is showing up as success. So when I say that to you, it wasn't for people to know your name or for you to be out front. It was just understanding the value that you bring and how you're showing up, and how the bus can't get down the road without the bus driver. That's all I'm saying.
I get that. I love the bus driver.
That was your analogy. That was your analogy.
We're all bus drivers, okay?
So let's move on to our next segment, which is I'm bringing her to the table with me. And this segment, it gives you an opportunity to give virtual flowers to another woman whose fingerprint is on your life, and you would not be where you are today without them.
Yeah, so I'm bringing to this table with me the reason that I'm actually here, my sister Jade. So, little known fact, I met Tommy through Jade, and the first time that I met you, my sister said, Tommy, I want you to meet my sister. She's a boss. And I looked at her, I was like,
Yeah,
That's how you talk about me? Like, thank you. It's just so
She was so proud. You could
I know.
tell it was a proud moment for her.
And yeah, so my sister, like I said, she's the one that I call when I need help professionally, but just personally too. She's my big sister. And, you know, from when I was little, I've always looked up to her. And then watching her go to college and make a way for herself to move out, to move away, to move to New York, to creating her own path and making it look so cool and so effortless and working in male dominated spaces and not ever making it a point to say, oh, it's so hard as a woman. You know what I mean? She just did it. And so those are things that just inspired me in ways that I can't even explain. And when I went to film school, I lived with her. I lived on her couch. And she didn't ask me for anything. She just was like, you're doing this, we're doing this. And I lived on her couch for like 9 months. And then when I graduated school, she was like, all right, you got to go.
It's been real.
And at the time, I was like, but I got to go. Now I got to go live with mommy and daddy. And I got to commute 6 hours. Like, you know, I was angry. I was like, what is going on? But you get older and you take a step back and you look at the grand scheme of things. And she really was like, okay, like I helped you, but you got to do the rest. And because of that, like I was on that train every day being like, I got to do this. I got to do this. And so I worked really hard and I fought for it. And, you know, she's a really big reason for that. And, you know, I see her all the time. I live like 5 minutes away from her now. Like she's not getting rid of me. But I've learned so much from her and she's really so great at what she does. And she's so great at anything she puts her mind to. And, yeah, I wouldn't be here without her. So I know that. And now she knows.
Yeah. Yeah. Jade is a boss in her own right, too. So, you have a wonderful sister and, clearly you all really come from a wonderful family. You know, you talked about your dad and what's the plan and, you know, an environment that really nurtured you girls up so that you would be able to really become what it is that you desire to become and not with no excuses. To your point, you do what you got to do and you're making it happen. So kudos to you and your sister, Jade.
Oh, thank you. That's very nice.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So let's go into our next segment, which is Food is Love. And in this segment, we get to talk about something that is so near and dear to my heart. And the first question is, what food best describes your personality and why?
Okay, so your team sent me this and I've been thinking about it like for a week, but we finally got a good answer. Okay, so my food that best describes my personality is mashed potatoes because with mashed potatoes, like they're so versatile. They can be as simple as you want them to be. They can be plain Jane, or they can be as adventurous as you want them to be. You can, you know, throw some Parmesan, put them under a broiler for all, you know what I mean? They can be as fancy as you want them to be or as simple. And I equate that to my love of going out into the world and traveling or just staying at home and being a homebody, which I love to do both, right? And then they're also very complimentary. You can put them with any food and they go well. And I like to think you can throw me into any situation and I can make my way.
Yeah, girl, you've been thinking about that question. That was a good answer.
I don't even know what kind of answer you were looking for, but I was like, I'm doing the research.
So name a time in your life where food was healing for you.
So I'm going to go back to just a childhood thing of, you know, my parents and my mom's home cooking. I think I've never met somebody who cooks with so much love. And I'm sure a lot of mothers can attest to this, but I look at my life now as a 34-year-old woman and I'm like, I don't know how my mom cooked dinner every single night for us growing up. Like I'm exhausted cooking for myself. And so a home cooked meal will always be my favorite thing. And so even now going home, I call their house my home. Every time I go home and you hit that corner and you smell a home cooked meal, it's just a feeling of I'm home. I can take a deep breath. I can come as I am. And that to me is so healing, especially in a world where just everything is going crazy. I hit that corner, I smell my mom's food, and I'm good.
What's her favorite dish that you make? That she makes, I'm sorry. What's the favorite dish that she makes for you?
My favorite dish that my mom makes really good beans. Like she can cook a pot of beans. Like she'll have it simmering all day. The house would be smelling really good. I equate it to fall because she'll be cooking it in like a nice like pot and you just smell them simmering all day. And then she makes really good collard greens too.
Mm-hmm. Does your family have an heirloom recipe that is passed down from generation to generation?
Yes. So my grandmom, on my dad's side, she made this dish called succotash, and it's lima beans and corn. And I've never ever had anyone make it the way that she does. And so one day, my sister and we told her, we're buying the ingredients and you're going to make it with us. You're going to cook it step by step because we need to know what you do. And so she did that. And now she passed that on to us. And now we have that recipe and I make it all the time. It's my boyfriend's favorite thing that I cook. Like, I love it. It's really good.
I love succotash, especially when I have access to fresh corn that I could cut off the cob. It is so good.
It's so good. And she makes it creamy. And oh my gosh, I can't give away all the family secrets, but hers is creamy, but there's no like milk or anything in it. And so like my mind is just blown because I've never seen anybody make it like her.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. You have to make some for me.
I got you.
Okay, so now we have this quick game of this or that. And it is related to television, which is really perfect, especially now that we know you were sitting at home as a little girl glued to the TV screen. So you should be ready for this game right here.
Okay.
The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air or Martin?
Me? Fresh Prince.
Okay. Friday or Coming to America?
Friday 1, Coming to America. If it's the first Friday, I'm picking Coming to America. But Friday After Next is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Okay.
A Christmas one.
Girlfriends or Living Single?
Girlfriends.
Love and Basketball or Brown Sugar?
Brown Sugar.
Insecure or Atlanta?
Insecure.
Soul Food or The Best Man?
Soul Food.
Black Panther or Do the Right Thing?
Black Panther.
A Different World or The Cosby Show?
A Different World.
Set It Off or Paid in Full?
Set It Off.
And the last one is Boys in the Hood or Menace to Society?
Boys in the Hood.
So are you a movie girl or a TV show girl?
More TV shows. I like movies, but I feel like a lot of the movies that you mentioned are like classic movies that I should have seen, but I probably haven't.
That's because you was busy watching TV shows.
I was making my own Disney Channel shows. That's what I was doing.
Oh. Well, Dominique, I am so grateful that you took the opportunity to come in, stay a while with us at the Stay a While podcast table. Where can people find you and learn more about what you're doing?
So you can watch the show that I work on. It's called Hot Ones. It's on YouTube. Every Thursday we come out with a new episode. Today, the day of this taping, we just went live with SZA. So that's a really fun one. And yeah, I mean, other than that, you can find me on LinkedIn, or maybe on Instagram, just doing my thing, being a little quiet, but I'm there.
Listen, if y'all ever need a guest host, make sure you hit your girl up.
I got you. We'll make succotash. We'll make wings. It'll be a good time.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much again for joining me today. And just know you're welcome at the table anytime.
Thank you so much.
I hope you felt the love and connection in today's conversation. Every woman you heard from has faced the impossible and emerged stronger. This is your personal invitation to stay a while longer at TommyV.com. That's TOMMIV.com for more inspiration for your mind, body, and soul. And let's not forget your belly. You're always welcome at my table. Please be sure to subscribe, make yourself at home, and stay a while.